So I finally finished The Flash, a film I was actually somewhat excited for due to Keaton and some other characters returning. So how was it? It really wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it all. It was alright. It wasn't bad. But I'll get this off my chest right now. Ezra Miller is an obnoxious, spoiled, insufferable, and disturbed individual that has been exposed for grooming minors, assaulting women, and being downright fucking creepy. This has all come out, in the past recent years. But setting that aside, I sat down and prepared for something that might be something a little atrocious. And while the complaints are true about the CGI, it does look like a Scorpion King era, early 2000s CGI fucking hot mess. It was pretty baffling if you ask me. I won't get into any spoilers or anything, but my overall thoughts are this is a pretty decent mid-tier film with some pretty kick-ass action sequences actually. And there's some pretty decent drama at times. All the issues I was worried about didn't really appear in the film like I thought they would, and it was actually pretty refreshing. There's no identity politics, no man-hating women, no agenda-driven vomit that we're used to seeing by Hollywood. It was just a fun popcorn film that takes story elements from a successful Flash comic book and adapts it into the big screen. So Ezra Miller plays two Barrys in this film, the one we know from the previous DCEU films, and a new alternate Barry from an alternate timeline version that is a pretty big insufferable fucking annoying kid. Since Barry chose to fuck around with all the timelines and keep his mother alive and his father out of prison, there's a whole plot point with that. His past self is a much more sociable delinquent due to his parents both being around in his life. It seems like he just spends his time around a lot of hooligans. He clearly smokes pot and there's mentions of mushrooms. So when he actually ends up seeing future Barry or our Barry, that's how he kind of explains away, like, who the hell is this? I'm looking at myself. He's high on mushrooms or he's having a flashback. So the story revolved around the attempt to get our Barry back to his timeline, all while accepting the past defines who we are. And I do love a good butterfly effect storyline, the what-ifs of going back into our past, trying to fix things, relationships, family members, keeping people alive. I do like that sort of stuff, so it had me quite engaged there. So the meat and potatoes are the cameos in this film for sure. So like Spider-Man No Way Home, we get past versions of Batman. And this isn't a spoiler since, Keaton is in the trailers. Keaton returns and it's like he never stepped out of the fucking bat suit at all. He says his old lines and, it's fan service, but I thought that worked quite well. He's definitely a highlight of the film, and it makes me wonder, is that the same Batman from the Tim Burton universe? I'm assuming it is, but okay. And next we have Kara Zor-El, Superwoman. I actually thought she was going to be pretty shitty. I thought it was going to be this Mary Soup trope like Rey Skywalker or Rey Palpatine, you can call her. But no, she's actually good. She didn't just blatantly hate men and want to be better than them or, like all the insufferable Batwoman like shows on the CW. She was actually really good, and it was one of the highlights of the film, I thought. So they all end up coming together. They need to take down Zod. So Zod from the Man of Steel, he is now back. And instead of Clark, Kal-El being the one who's found on Earth in Kansas, it was actually Kara Zor-El, the cousin of Kal-El, Clark, and she's the one who is in this universe now. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and, whatever. There's a pretty cool narrative that arrives a little bit after when they have this final confrontation with Zod that I thought was pretty cool, and it comes back to the whole moral of the story type thing. But you see, Ezra Miller killed the box office growths for this film, I believe, and sadly Keaton couldn't bring enough people. And with Henry Cavill not being Superman, and he appears in this as this terrible CGI model, it was atrocious. I don't think they could have gotten the box office results that they were hoping for. And, not to mention, it's been in production hell for over a decade, and according to reports, Ezra Miller was a fucking nightmare to work with. I didn't mind him too much towards the end, and the past Barry actually grows as a character, and there is a somewhat of an arc for him, and he gets a little bit more tolerable. I will say at the end, it does remind me a lot of the Dragon Ball Super Future Trunks arc. If you don't know what that means, basically lessons were not learned, their struggles over the years were for fucking nothing, and I was left with that thought just right through my head. I'm thinking, did this fucking guy not learn a thing? However, I would say I recommend this movie on a rainy day or for a fun background flick. Watch it with a friend or a family member. Get some popcorn and try to turn off your brain from the hardships of the ever-growing fuckery of the world. But seriously, it wasn't all that bad. This movie got a lot of media hate, and a lot of YouTubers shit all over this movie, and Ezra Miller is an insufferable fuck. But if you can just turn your brain off and just have fun with it, I don't think it's that bad. But that's all for me today. Bye-bye.